Thank you for joining us today on What's Up Prince William here at Studio 1A in Dale City, Virginia. Today we have Victor Angry, has a book here called Angry Leadership. Victor is actually a part of our community. He's on the volunteer fire department, also the first black command sergeant major of the U.S. Army National Guard. Thank you very much for being on our show today.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
So tell us just a little synopsis of what the book is about.
So the book is just basically 7 guiding principles that I sat back and thought about from my entire military career of what got me to success. So then I sat down and actually wrote out 7 things that I felt were key and then expounded on them a little bit in the book.
And with doing talks like this, you actually do some talks for children in our community. Can you tell us just a little bit about what you've done or what you like to do?
Well, I mean, I like working with the youth, so I think the youth is important because a lot of what I realized in the book was me as a kid thinking of what I would be when I grow up, right? So now I do talks. You know, I'm the pub ed for the fire department, and we get a lot of boys, the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts through. And we'll talk a little bit about leadership and responsibility, and you know all those things that we have to do that are behind the scenes of leadership, but those things go with making you a leader. So I just try to pass that forward to put a little bit of spark in the youth about what they, what leadership is and how they can grow into that throughout their life.
One of the things that you talk about are mentors.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mentorship, it's one of those people, you hear it in the business world all the time, find a mentor, looking for a mentor. How do mentors show up, or what are the different ways that do you even know that you even have a mentor?
Yeah. That's a really great question, because they have this thing about you get to pick who you want to mentor, and you don't have a say in who gets to mentor you. Well, it's actually, I think it's a two-way street, because for me, I had folks in my military career actually snatch me by the collar and say, "Get over here," because as my stepmother said, I see something better in you than you see in yourself. So with that, you have to start thinking, maybe this person's onto something, especially if they're giving you some counsel that's really good for you. The other side is if I see someone and I'm like, I really want that person in my life. I like what they're doing. I really want them to be a part of my mentor program and help develop me. So I go and ask, right? Hey, would you be my mentor? Such as SC, would you be my mentor?
So also, you also talk about tenacity.
Yes.
In part of the book, I know I might be mixing a little bit of it, but it's like, so you're talking about luck. But you also set yourself up for luck. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, and and how what do people see or not see when they're talking about luck?
Yeah. The hard thing about explaining luck is that people will. I don't want people to think it's some written formula that you can do to set yourself up to be in that lucky situation. Because as I discovered, most lucky situations aren't like a lottery ticket. It's a short list of people who, when chaos hits or something happens, they go to that list and say, I want one of these people right here to be a part of this. So it's a short list of people on the lucky. Now how you get there is really just to do those things that you love to do. I think the key word I use is passion, right? You're passionate about your life, but you're not looking at doing things to check a box to get you to the lucky list. You're just doing things because you know it's right and it makes you feel good and it's just the right thing to do. And that, without knowing, people are looking at you, they're watching that, and they're checking boxes off and they're putting it in columns. And then, when things happen, you find yourself getting a call to say, hey, I want you. And luck and timing.
And through your career, there's been those times that you've actually had to make a decision on what kind of leader you wanted to be. Why don't you just give one example of I read one in the book, but it's one of those, we were talking about one about listening to other sergeants talking about kicking somebody out. That was a decision point in your career.
Yeah, it was, and that's when I had to make that kind of turn in my life to say, I'm good at this. I'm good at representing right from wrong, and not just going with the status quo or turning that whole deaf ear like you don't see it, because you're so worried about where you're going in your career that you're willing to watch people fail for no reason at all. So when you make a stance on that, is that going to be a one-time stance, or is that going to be your platform? Is that your base? Is that your foundation? So for me, it became my foundation because I was really good at that, and it's happened to me in my career. So I really just never want to see that happen to anybody else, just for no reason at all. That's why I live by that quote: never personal, always professional.
And so now how do you bring this to companies or organizations? So you could give a talk to nonprofit organizations, corporations, small businesses, large businesses. So how do you bring this into helping them?
You know, corporations are people. I mean, the greatest asset in any company is its people, and you have to be, a leader has to be, you know, leading from the front is really your people seeing you for the true person that you are, not something that's in the bio or something that you put on the video that they just see you every now and then. I mean, I think it's a true, genuine conversation with your people. It's really getting into the behind the scenes of what's going on with your employees. And I think such things like someone's having a bad day, someone's mother just passed away. They work for you, they come to work, you got a deadline to meet, but you see something going on in the face of that employee. Well, guess what? The deadline should become second nature, because that employee issue of the mother passing away or whatever happens should be real critical for that leadership. And you know, I think when you develop that kind of relationship, you know, you get a match made in heaven. You get much more productivity and much more support.
So you come in and give talks to their team and bring these values, you know, to them.
Yeah.
And so one last thought, as far as, you know, if you had to give, you know, one parting piece of wisdom or something, you know, what would you say to, you know, if someone said, hey, you know, what is like one of the top things on your mind for a guiding principle? What would you say?
Be open. Be two-way. You know, in that book is the little me, I call it, the little me, Sean, as growing up. All of us are still that little kid that we dreamed of being this big person, who either who we are now or who we still want to be later in life. And just because you're that person now doesn't negate the little guy that you've always been. And the little guy asks a lot of questions, right? We're so curious. So ask a lot of questions. Be curious about the people you work with. I mean, I think when you get there, then, you know, leadership, friendships, you know, esprit de corps, teamwork, all that stuff kind of just falls together, and then you get the right formula. So I would just say, be genuine, be that person that you've always been in your life. And I mean, there's times when you got to make tough decisions, and there's times when you can, you know, kind of hang out and have some fun. You got to balance the two, and then people got to know where you're coming from with that, and they genuinely know that when you are genuine.
Excellent, excellent. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much for being on our show today.
You're welcome.
And if you're looking for it, it's Angry Leadership. It's actually on Amazon. And thank you for all that you do in our community. And I know you're on many different boards and organizations that help more than just what you're doing here. So we really do appreciate it. And thank you for joining us on What's Up, Prince William.